How's it going, peeps? It is now time for the Raw results / highlights and review video. I'll go over the results, some of the highlights in my opinion, and give you guys my thoughts, my review on the show. So it kicks off with Paul Heyman in the ring, and he says he's going to give us a preview of what's going to happen at Night of Champions. He says the former champion is going to come out first, and then he hums John Cena's theme song. And then he says the Beast is going to come out next, and pretty much he says that Brock Lesnar is going to destroy John Cena. Now eventually John Cena interrupts, he comes out, and he tells Paul Heyman, you know, last week I said I wanted to fight, and if Brock wasn't going to be here, then I was going to fight you. So then he tells Paul Heyman, where's Brock Lesnar? Paul Heyman tells him, you know, he's here. Or actually, John Cena tells him, where is Brock Lesnar? And Paul Heyman tells him, well, you know, that depends on what your definition of where is. And then he goes on to say that Brock Lesnar will be here tonight, and that if he wants Brock Lesnar, he can get him tonight, right here, right now. And then he tells John Cena, here comes the pain, and then he points at the Titantron, at the stage. So Cena looks towards the stage, and he's expecting Brock, but his music doesn't hit, he doesn't come out, and then Paul Heyman starts laughing, and he informs John Cena that Brock will be here tonight, but his flight, you know, he flies in a private jet, or, you know, private plane, and his flight has been delayed. So while he will be here tonight, he's not here right now. And then John Cena tells him once again, you know, if Brock isn't here, then he's going to fight Heyman. So then Heyman gets out of the ring, and he's about to leave, but Cena stops him, and then he tells Paul Heyman, you know, I don't want to say I don't trust you, but I don't trust you. So he grabs Paul Heyman by the head in like a headlock position, and he walks with Paul Heyman in the headlock position towards the back. And then they go to commercial. Once they come back, we see that on the WWE app that Cena put Paul Heyman in his locker room, and he told Khali, at first he told Khali in English to watch Paul Heyman or not let him get out, but then he actually talked to Khali in his language, like he did in the past too. He did that like, I don't know, a year back or so. No, actually it was more than that. I don't remember when, but he's done it before. Actually, it wasn't a year back. It was like 3-4 years back. So anyways, he tells Khali to watch, you know, the locker room and not let Paul Heyman get out. So Khali just stands there like a security guard in front of the locker room. And then after that, it's Chris Jericho versus Corporate Kane. And it was a pretty decent match. Towards the end, Kane takes off the turnbuckle padding when the referee is checking on Jericho. But as with most matches where the heel takes off the turnbuckle padding, it ends up costing them the match. When Jericho, or Kane, charged Jericho, Jericho got out of the way, and Kane went face first onto the exposed turnbuckle. Jericho then rolled him up for the 3 count and won the match. And after that, we see Paul Heyman in John Cena's locker room, and he's trying to call Brock Lesnar, but there's no signal, there's no reception, so Paul Heyman is just standing there in the locker room waiting for Brock to, I guess, appear or, you know, arrive at the arena. So then after that, we get Renee Young interviewing Roman Reigns about, you know, Seth Rollins turning on the Shield a couple months back. And pretty much Roman Reigns says that he wants to punch Seth Rollins in the face repeatedly until his knuckles bleed. So after that, we get Jack Swagger versus Bo Dallas. So I guess I was thinking maybe we'd get that match at Night of Champions, but I guess it's going to happen at Raw instead. And Swagger ends up winning when Bo Dallas goes for like a roll-up or a sunset flip, but Swagger turns it around while he's getting pinned into the Patriot Lock, and shortly after, Bo Dallas taps out. Following that, it's a Divas tag team match, Paige and Nikki Bella versus AJ and Brie Bella. And in this match, towards the end, Brie Bella, she was about to tag in AJ, but then out of nowhere, Nikki grabs AJ by the foot and pulls her off the apron. So then, you know, the two legal divas being Paige and Brie, Paige grabs Brie and hits her with the cradle DDT, covers her, and Paige and Nikki win the match. After the match is over, Nikki gets in the ring, and for some reason I thought Nikki was going to attack Paige or something like that to send a message to the champion, but she grabs Brie Bella and she hits her finisher on her, the rack attack, I believe it's called. And then she leaves the ring, and then Paige skips around the ring with the championship. And then AJ, she gets back up, and she also skips while Paige skips. And then Paige, she sees AJ skipping, so she stops skipping. She looks at AJ stops too, and then Paige restarts skipping, and AJ does so as well. Pretty much, AJ is copying Paige, copying her. And in the end, Paige just tells AJ to leave, get away, so AJ skips to the back, and that's it for that. Afterwards, they show footage from SmackDown where Bray Wyatt wants to get involved in the tag team match, but Big Show stopped him. And then we get a promo from Bray Wyatt talking about how the world is full of lies and that tonight he's going to fix the Big Show. And then Big Show comes out and he's out for a matchup against Bray Wyatt. The match ends in a disqualification when Big Show hits the final cut on Bray Wyatt, goes for the cover, but then Luke Harper comes in and he attacks the Big Show. And then Rowan and Harper Irish whip Big Show towards the ropes, but Big Show comes back with a double choke slam on Rowan and Harper. And when he hits that double choke slam, Bray Wyatt is sitting on the ramp on his chair looking on. So after that, we get the Usos and Sheamus versus Cesaro and Stardust and Goldust. And it ends up being a really good match, actually. And Sheamus actually but jumped from the top turnbuckle onto, I believe it was Stardust and Cesaro on the outside, and hit them both with like a double battering ram or double shoulder tackle from the top turnbuckle to the outside. And then once he got back in the ring, Stardust, shortly after, Stardust went for the, what's it called? The disaster kick. I'm not sure if he still calls it that. I think he does. So yeah, he goes for the disaster kick. I think Sheamus dodged it or something like that. And then Sheamus went for the bro kick. But before he hit the bro kick, what he didn't see is Stardust tagged in Cesaro. So Sheamus hits Stardust with the bro kick. And then Cesaro gets in the ring. Sheamus doesn't see it. And then he hits the neutralizer really quick on Stardust. And at that point, I'm thinking, alright, you know, Cesaro and Goldust are winning this, but actually it gets interrupted by the Usos, the pin. So then the match continues on, and Sheamus tags in one of the Usos, and that Uso super kicks Cesaro, and then he goes ahead and goes to jump from inside of the ring to the outside on Golden Stardust, but before jumping, he tags in the other Uso. And so he completes his jump to the outside, and then the other Uso hits the splash on Cesaro for the win. After that, they show footage of Randy attacking Chris Jericho last week, and then Renee Young interviews Randy and asks him why he attacked Jericho, and Randy says, why not? You know, Jericho a couple weeks back said that, you know, Randy got everything handed to him, and then he says it's not his fault that Jericho had to work twice as hard to accomplish half the things he has. And then pretty much he says that he's going to give Jericho the beating of his life at Night of Champions. So then after that, time's up for Paul Heyman, and John Cena drags Heyman out to the ring, and it's time for, you know, Brock to show up. And Paul Heyman grabs the microphone. Well, actually, before he does, Cena says it's now time for Paul Heyman, for the one behind the 1 in 21 to magically make the Beast appear. And then Paul Heyman talks, and he says that, you know, John Cena can't do it. Who's he fooling? You know, who's he trying to fool here? He can't do this. He can't hit him. He's not going to hit a father of two, and, you know, it's just not John Cena. John Cena's not a bully. Brock Lesnar, though, is a bully. And, yeah, he goes ahead and talks about how Cena's not going to do it. He's not going to hit him. And pretty much Cena agrees. He says, you know, yeah, he did this in the hopes of the Beast appearing, and that way he can show the people that he's ready for Lesnar now. And then, so Paul Heyman, upon learning that, he makes fun of John Cena a bit some more, and then he says something about Cena's mom, so Cena pushes Paul Heyman. Just when Cena was about to leave, he comes back and pushes Paul Heyman, and right when he pushes Paul Heyman and Paul Heyman falls outside the ring, Lesnar's music hits, and I love it whenever Lesnar's music hits. I like Lesnar's theme song, and it's kind of like Austin's theme. When Austin's theme hits, you know, when you hear the glass break, you know shit's about to get real. Same with Lesnar, although a lot of times you'll see Lesnar, you know, it's like, you know, the face tells him, come on, you know, let's fight, and then Lesnar will tease the fight. He'll pretend like he's about to get in the ring and fight, but oftentimes he just leaves. And it looked like it was about to happen this time around too. So anyways, Lesnar comes out, he kind of circles the ring, he picks Paul Heyman up, helps him back up, and then it looked like he was about to leave, and then he comes back around towards the ring, and then he leaves again, and then he gets on the apron, and then Michael Cole gets all excited, and he's like, oh, he's on the apron, and it's gonna happen, and when Cole said that, I was like, alright, you know, Cole's a bit too excited, so Lesnar's probably gonna get off the apron and just leave, but actually Lesnar gets in the ring, and they start fighting, and Cena right away, he didn't really let Lesnar get fully back in the ring, and Cena basically gets the better of Lesnar, and he takes Lesnar down, hits him with a couple punches, but then a bunch of security guards separate them, and they separate Cena. They all hold Cena back, and Lesnar just grabs the championship, looks at Cena, and then leaves. And then they have Naomi versus Cameron. They show some Total Divas footage of them arguing, or talking about how Cameron wants to go to NXT before the match. And as far as the match goes, Naomi ends up winning when she locks in a new submission hold onto Cameron. But actually, I said locked in, but it looked like Cameron actually tapped out before the hold was actually locked in, before the hold was completed, I guess. It's like if Cena were to go for the STF, but he just, you know, locked in or like hooked the guy's leg and didn't even, you know, put his arms around the guy's face yet, and the guy taps out. Kind of like that. And then after that, it was a tag team match of the superstars and their stunt doubles. It was once again Dolph Ziggler and r-ziggler versus The Miz and Damon Mizdow. And it was a fun match, or it was a nice match especially because of the commentary, and also the end of the match, or after the match was over. And actually, you know, something interesting in this match is the King, Jerry the King Lawler, was actually siding with The Miz and Damon Mizdow, who was saying they looked similar, while he thought that r-ziggler and Dolph didn't look alike. And he also pointed out that he didn't like the way how Ziggler and r-ziggler won the match. Which, by the way, they won the match when The Miz was, or actually Damien Sandow was holding R-Truth, or was it Ziggler? Yeah, he was holding Ziggler, and The Miz goes for the punch on Ziggler. Ziggler ducks, so Miz punches Damien Mizdow, and then Ziggler hits the zigzag on The Miz, covers him, and wins the match. After the match, this was another part I liked, is The Miz was selling, you know, he was like on the outside of the ring, so was Damien Sandow right next to him, and they were selling the back of their heads the exact same way. Like the exact same placement and everything, the hand placement and all that. The same way Miz usually sells after the match, where he's holding the back of his head and everything. Damien Mizdow was doing the exact same thing right next to him. I thought that was a nice touch. Tom Phillips then interviews Seth Rollins about Roman Reigns and his match against Roman Reigns tonight, and Seth Rollins goes ahead and makes fun of Reigns. He calls him a rhinoceros, he calls him a gorilla, he says he's part Samoan, part rhinoceros, part gorilla, and then he goes on and pretends like he's a gorilla, pretending to be Reigns, and then he says, you know, like I said, he's a part rhinoceros, and, you know, they're strong and all, but they're not very smart, and he says, you know, it's brains over brawn, and he says that he is the future WWE World Heavyweight Champion and the future of the WWE, not Reigns. So, after that, it is Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, and I was fully expecting, you know, this was a good match, by the way, but I was fully expecting Seth Rollins, the match to end in a disqualification, no contest, turn into a tag team match after some interference or something like that. But no, this match actually ended clean, and the reason why I'm surprised is because this match is supposed to take place at Night of Champions. I was thinking this would end by disqualification or something like that, so, you know, we would get, you know, a winner by pinfall submission at Night of Champions. So I really was surprised when it did, you know, end clean and somebody actually won the match not by disqualification or countout, but actually by pinfall. And that person was Roman Reigns when Seth Rollins went for the... By the way, Seth Rollins actually hit him with the powerbomb. He lifted up Reigns for the powerbomb. Anyways, yeah, like I was saying, Seth Rollins went for the curb stomp, but Reigns got out of it, and then he bounced off the ropes, hit the spear, and got the win. And in the match, Seth Rollins, I think, is the first guy to actually duck the drop kick, the Roman Reigns kick, when the person is on the hanging on the ropes. Reigns went for that, but Seth Rollins got out of the way. But yeah, Reigns wins the match clean. And then after that, it's time for Mark Henry's Rally of America. And, you know, I was surprised this match, or not the match, because it wasn't a match, but I was surprised that this was the main event segment, or, you know, the thing to close out the show. I actually thought that Reigns and Seth Rollins was going to close out the show, but then once that match ended, and, you know, there was still a good amount of time for Raw, and then Michael Cole said that, we would then be getting Henry rallying, you know, the USA afterwards. I was kind of surprised that that would be closing out Raw. So, anyways, it starts off with Michael Cole introducing Mark Henry, and like the ring mat is red, and they've got, you know, a bunch of USA flags. And Mark Henry says that this Sunday, you know, he won't let us down. He can't let us down against Rusev. And they talk about the Olympics. And eventually Rusev comes out. And then Lana talks. And Henry talks as well. And eventually, Henry's like, you know, I pledge to... But before he can finish, Rusev gets in the ring. And he starts attacking Mark Henry. They fight it out. Rusev in the beginning gets the better of Mark Henry. He ends up super kicking Henry, and then he goes for the accolade, but he can't lock it in. He can't grab or lift up Henry's left arm, and then Henry ends up overpowering Rusev, and then he hits him with like a sit-out spinebuster. And then so I was wondering, is this like Henry's new finisher or something like that? But anyways, he hits the sit-out spinebuster, and then he just throws Rusev out of the ring. And then he stands tall, and he grabs one of the flags. And that's it. That's it for Raw. So, what did I think about Raw tonight? You know, highlights. Well, one of the highlights for me, this was more so funny than like a, you know, really cool moment, because it wasn't a cool moment. It was just a funny moment, and may have been a botch. And it was during the Naomi versus Cameron match, where Cameron actually attempted a pinfall, or a pin on Naomi, with Naomi lying on her stomach. Basically, she took down Naomi, and then she went for like a split-legged, I guess, attack, or split-legged leg drop. And then she, you know, she did it with like I said, Naomi with her stomach, you know, laying on the mat. And so she hits the leg drop on Naomi's back, and then she's like signaling to the ref, you know, count, you know, make the count. So I'm not sure if that was a botch or not. Probably was. Another highlight, you know, the tag team match, 6-man tag team match, Sheamus and the Usos versus Cesaro and Gold and Stardust. That was a great matchup. Highlight of that match for me would be Sheamus hitting the double shoulder tackle from the inside of the ring, or from the top turnbuckle to the outside, on both Cesaro and Stardust, seeing as how you don't usually see Sheamus, you know, do something like that. And, you know, Reigns versus Rollins, that was also a good matchup. And r-ziggler, Dolph Ziggler versus Damon Mizdow and The Miz, that was entertaining. That was an entertaining match, and, you know, Damon Mizdow, just, you know, Damon Sandow, you know, I like how he really pays attention to, you know, to detail, and he does just these little things that make him, you know, make him a great, I guess, you know, stunt double. Just, you know, at the end of the match, or after the matchup, when he was selling the exact same way The Miz was, that was great. Just, Damon Sandow he's great at any role he's in. Hopefully, he's gonna be featured more in that he is the Miz's stunt double, and hopefully that leads to, you know, bigger things for Damien Sandow in the future as well. And what else was there? The match Jericho versus Kane, that was also a decent match. And just overall, it was a good Raw. It was a much better Raw than the one I reviewed, or the one I watched, 2 weeks back. 2 weeks back, that was, I think I gave that Raw like a 6 on 10. Looking back, I probably would have given that Raw maybe even a lesser rating, but this was a lot better. I know last week I didn't post up a review video, results video, but I thought last week's Raw and this week's Raw were a lot better than the Raw 2 weeks back. Now, the main event though this time, or the last segment, maybe I would have preferred like maybe Brock Lesnar ending the show or something like that. But just overall, the show overall, like everything, the matches and all that, especially the matches, they were a lot better. Match-wise, it was a lot better than, the Raw 2 weeks back, the last one I reviewed. Just overall, the show was a lot better than the one 2 weeks back. And I'd give this Raw like a 7.5, I'd say, on 10. So anyways, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, as always, you can click that like button down below. I'd really appreciate it. With that said, I'm out, guys. See ya.